Hey, what's up, y'all? I'm Ofosu Jones-Corte.
And I'm Leah Santa Cruz.
And we are the meditation coaches on the Balance app.
And this is our weekly show, Well Balanced, where we explore ways to live a healthier and happier life.
So the holidays are happening here in the States and in many places around the world. So we want to say happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
But we also know that the holidays are not always so happy, and that some of us, many of us, experience the holiday blues.
And not the musical kind.
No, not the musical kind. Yes, we're not talking about the BB King holiday special. We are talking about holiday time sadness. So we want to give you some tips to help with this feeling of holiday time sadness that many of us experience. Leah, I'm curious, have you ever experienced depression or anxiety during the holidays?
I have both, actually. I think the most recent time was 2 years ago. I had just had my son at the end of November. So he was only about a month old. And my family's always celebrated the Christmas holiday tradition. And I was living in Bali. And so I couldn't leave because of lockdowns and my family couldn't visit. And, I had this little new one that I wanted to share with my loved ones and have like this first time for them to meet. And so I was sad. I was definitely sad because I couldn't have the connection that I wanted to with the family that I wanted to be around. And I think probably a lot of people, had similar experiences at that time during COVID. I remember once the first Christmas after my grandmother passed away, just missing her, and feeling a bit depressed at those times that I didn't have the connection with the person or people that I wanted to. So yeah, there's a bittersweetness or mixed feelings for me sometimes with the holidays.
I definitely agree that the holidays can be a source of all sorts of feelings. When I was younger, I experienced a pretty traumatic event around the holiday time. So for many years, during my teenage years and into my into my early 20s, and the holidays were just a reminder of this like terrible time in my life. It was usually like a time where I anticipated feeling pretty bad.
You're like, oh no, this time's coming. Every time you hear a Christmas song and the lights, it's like the anticipation sometimes is the hard part. Like,
Yeah.
sometimes we can just anticipate the worst outcome too. And
Yeah.
I've definitely had anxiety leading up to holiday. With travel too. I just traveled to the States from Indonesia for Thanksgiving holiday at the end of November. And so I was a bit nervous leading up to it. I had some anxiety about traveling with a 2-year-old so far and how it was going to be, staying with my family for a couple of weeks. Was everyone going to get along? Once I got there, things were fine. But yeah, I can relate to the anticipation anxiety.
Yeah, the anticipation part is a big one for sure. Sometimes just the presence, no pun intended, but the presence of all that jolliness, all the smiling, images in the store windows and lights and commercials and all that stuff. If you're not feeling that way, all of the jolliness that you think that society is telling you that you should feel, it really can compound the fact that you're not feeling that way.
Yeah.
Some of us have seasonal affective disorder. So just the fact that it gets darker sooner, that for some of us, it's colder, it can be tough. Really, the expectation that we should be happy, bumping up against even the slightest incongruence with that can really throw us for a loop, I feel like.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think that's why it's so important when this time of year rolls around. I mean, any time of year, but especially this time of year when there's lots of holidays happening and we're expected to put on a happy face and be jolly and cheery. And there's a little bit of, we're human beings. We have complex pasts and experiences. And so we can't always be jolly and happy all the time. And we need to pause sometimes. And this is what's helped me is to just recognize how I'm actually feeling, like continue to do regular check-ins with myself and say, I'm actually feeling a little sad, and not be like, oh, I'm such a bummer. Why I shouldn't be feeling sad. It's the holidays. But to be rather like, okay, no, I can allow this to be the situation. Like we talked about that with Tara Brach, that
Yeah.
rain technique of like recognizing what's here and then allowing it to just simply be there, and then investigating like, what do I really need, and what is truly going on within me and
Mm,
what's needed, and then
yeah.
nurturing that part of ourselves, having compassion for ourselves for where we're at.
Yeah.
Times when we can't change the circumstances, like someone is not there with us, we can't possibly be connected to them. I feel like that's a really helpful technique. And then just
Yeah.
reaching out for connection if that's what we're
Yeah.
longing for, like maybe reaching out to a loved one or friends, or maybe a health professional that we can talk to.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, for me, with the holidays being a reminder of a traumatic event, like it's funny because I don't have that relationship with the holidays at all anymore. Maybe it was having kids and that
Mm,
and seeing the holidays through their eyes, or
yeah.
maybe I'm not sure exactly what it was, but I know that the passage of time helped me recover
Hmm.
from that association, that negative association with the holidays. And for you listening, if you find that you are habitually feeling bad around the holidays, I think doing the things that Leah just mentioned, really attending to what's there, allowing it to be there, and really taking care of yourself, whether that means reaching out for help or just offering yourself regular doses of self compassion, can be super helpful.
Hmm.
And along with all of that, just being patient,
Yeah.
recognizing that, this is how it is for me right now, but that doesn't mean that's how it's going to be for me forever. I think sometimes when we feel like we are like saddled with a particular set of emotions forever, it can feel like forever, but really it's not, so
Yeah.
especially if you are meeting whatever is arising with loving kindness, over time it will transform.
Yeah. It's easy to feel like we're stuck, but everything changes and shifts. And
Yeah.
that reminds me of the lyrics in a song of one of my favorite artists, Trevor Hall. He said, "You can't rush your healing."
Yeah.
And there's sometimes the darkness teaches us something, and we can remember that like love is not gone. But we just
Mm,
can't rush the healing sometimes. Like we have to, sometimes it makes us just appreciate life more when
yeah.
um, we go through those dark periods, and then we can appreciate the light periods and the happy periods more. So
Yeah.
I love that.
I mean, for me, like thinking of like, oh wow, I don't really feel that way anymore. It's
Mhm.
that in and of itself is a big lesson. Like the storms pass after a while, inevitably. It
Mhm.
reminds me of so I've been teaching a lot about patience recently because it's been a theme in my own practice.
Yeah.
So I just gave a talk on patience over the weekend. Do you know that song, "Patience" by Guns N' Roses? I've had that song in my head like for days.
How does it go?
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna sing it now. The end of the song is kind of like it's just a little patience, yeah, yeah. Just a
Mhm.
little patience, yeah, yeah. Just that's it. But I mean, then Axel's doing like a bunch of like amazing ad libs in the background that I'm not going to do. But yeah. Anyway, so there's another song by John Mayer called "Stop This Train." Have you ever heard "Stop This Train"?
Mm-mm.
Oh my God. It's really profound. It's a really profound song about like just the impermanence of life.
Mm.
I have to find it. Hold on a second. Stop this train lyrics. Yeah. So once in a while, when it's good, it'll feel like it should, and they're still all around, and you're safe and sound, and you don't miss a thing till you cry when you're driving away in the dark.
Mm.
And that happens to me sometimes at the holidays too, is where I get this like immediate nostalgia for the moment that I'm having,
Mm.
knowing that I'm not going to have it again and my
Mm,
parents are getting older, and who knows if we'll
yeah.
ever have this moment again. And my heart gets broken in the moment.
I think you can enter into like where is the heartbreak? We can enter into the heartbreak from the aspect of like, wow, it's all coming from such deep love
Yeah.
and need for love and like wanting that. Like if we can follow the stream to the beginnings of it, we can sense all the love that is there,
Yeah.
even in the sadness.
I feel like that's kind of a deep source of all of it. All of the feelings that come up around this time, they come back to like just reinforcing the need to be loved and
Hmm.
to love and
Yeah.
um and to be accepted and just for who you are. Like those feelings of anxiety around whether people are going to understand my livelihood or my point of view or my
Hmm.
opinions, or whether I'm going to be accepted by the people that I care about. So I think the holidays are not the only time to be practicing self-compassion, to be practicing learning how to, be with our emotions, to relate to ourselves from a place of patience.
Hmm.
If we're practicing these things regularly, they can show up to support us during this season where our emotions can be any which way.
Yeah, absolutely. These times are a pulse check on our relationships,
Yeah.
right? Because it's all about relationships during this time of the year. And so it's really pulse check like on, do I have supportive people around me? What can I do to nurture the relationships that I have and to move out of those toxic ones and into ones that are more nurturing for my soul and my growth? But, there's also something to be said about just straight up mental health and stress and like,
Yo, for real.
like exercising and moving our bodies. Like I cannot stress enough. I mean, I noticed such a huge difference when I just, even if it's just a 20-minute walk,
Yeah.
but just to get outside
Yeah.
and walk a bit through the trees and nature, or even, if you live in an urban setting, like I've walked through parking lots to get to the trees lining the parking lot, that still helped during times when I felt seasonal affective or seasonal depression.
Yeah.
And during times when I feel like I needed a break or I just needed to have a pick me up in my body. And then also just get your body moving. And
Yep.
moving our bodies is like one of the fastest ways to improving our mental health,
Yeah.
hands down. I mean, besides meditation, of course.
Oh, yeah. Well, moving meditations, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah,
There you go.
um, everything that we're talking about are ways to manage our difficult emotions that should be applied, in my opinion. But if you find that all of your efforts are coming up short in helping you to feel healthy, mentally healthy, then there is absolutely no shame in reaching out to a mental health professional, a therapist,
Hmm. Yeah.
somebody who can, or to even say to a family member, any supportive person in your life, to say, "Hey, I need help," and maybe getting their help to get you the real help that you need. So don't think that you have to suffer alone, or that if you practice loving kindness for yourself, if you exercise, if you are learning to be patient, that don't think that those things don't matter, but also don't think that if they're not helping right away that you're unhelpable.
Hmm.
There's more help to be had. I always want to recommend that everybody seek out every option available to them to help
Yeah.
them to feel healthy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good point. And depending on how deep we are in that pit of depression, sadness, or
Yeah.
anxiety, it can actually feel impossible to even just reach out to a mental health professional on our own or to do the research for it because
Yeah.
we get stuck there. So I, in the past, have asked like a responsible friend or caring friend, can you
Yep.
give me recommendations or just maybe you could help me with the search for this because I need help, but I'm not even able to do it for myself right now. Like I need your help in helping me get help. So that makes any sense.
Absolutely.
So that can also be a route if you're struggling to even know where to begin.
Yeah. I had fallen down in a pretty bad place some time ago, and I really that exact scenario, what you just said, and I had to ask my wife, like, I need help. Like, I need you to look up somebody that I can talk to because
Yeah.
it's a little bit too hard for me right now.
And sometimes where we're in that fog, it feels overwhelming. So
Yeah.
Well, happy holidays, but even if they're not happy, we can still welcome and accept all parts of ourselves as we are
Yeah.
right now and acknowledge where we're at and give ourselves grace and compassion and take care of ourselves as needed.
Yeah. Hopefully in listening to us, it normalizes for some of you listening that it's just a part of the human experience to experience unpleasant or sad or, or just low emotions
Hmm.
at any time, really. And then they can be amplified around the holidays. And that is normal. Like you're not, there's nothing wrong with you
Yeah.
for not feeling great. It's okay not to be okay around this time.
Yep.
But there are so many ways that you can help yourself if you find that you're in a tough place. Yeah.
Well, I've really enjoyed having this conversation with you. I think it's been a great reminder to reach out to the people I love and to nurture those
Yeah.
relationships, to plan ahead. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for that reminder that those moments of like existential dread about the impermanence of all things, it really just comes from a place of deep love. Yeah, that was a good reminder.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Hey, and for you listening, thank you for being here with us. And I hope that some parts of this have touched your soul. And if you are
Yeah.
not watching this podcast yet, we would love for you to check us out on YouTube. Our channel is called Balance, and we have a link to today's episode in the show notes. But if you're on Spotify, you'll see our video playing when you play the episode in the app.
And please rate and review the show wherever you are watching or listening. Just helps us so much, and we love hearing from
does.
you. And it gives us a chance to spread the word. So please do that.
We'll be back next week. And until then, take care. Have a beautiful week.
Don't forget to be kind to yourself. Peace.
Happy holidays.